Welcome to the world famous Cool Cars with Chris. I am Chris, and that is Courage right over there. He's got courage. His name is Courage. How you doing, today, buddy?
I am good. Always great to get on and talk some cars, man.
Yeah, what's going on in the world of cars and Courage's world, man? Before you answer that, how has traffic been up there in the Temecula area? Is it pretty nuts still? Because I remember being like crazy, lots of traffic hitting up 15.
Yeah, it's actually, I'm glad you brought this up because I don't know if you've heard about this whole smart highway
That's
thing
what I was going to bring up. Exactly. What's so smart about the freeway?
Yeah. So funny enough, when I started actually trying to understand what they meant, it really just seemed like they were just trying to basically make metering lights like more smart at the end of the day. Like if you ever, get on like really busy highways where they actually meter, like they got the light there and they're metering just how many cars go on, but usually it's like one or two cars at a light and then they go on and then it turns red and it goes cycles through kind of like that. When I was reading into it,
you're talking when you get on the freeway, they have the stoplights, right? So not everybody goes on the freeway all at one time.
Not everybody goes on at one time, and I was looking into it, and they're trying to. That's basically part of it. Is that they're trying to control how many people at certain peak hours of the day are on the freeway at the same time, because obviously you got less people, less potential for accidents, all that, and they're trying to use AI actually to kind of understand how to meter meter these lights and things to control the amount of people on the freeway at a certain time. And so whether it works long term, I don't know, but I have noticed that it doesn't really, when I do go down to San Diego for work and I'm coming back up in the evening, I usually come up around 5 or 5:30. And I have noticed that I can get back around like an hour, like maybe even 50 minutes or so, which is pretty good for the commute kind of coming up from San Diego. So,
it usually bottlenecks like Escondido, Fallbrook area, I think.
Yeah.
And then like up the hill there, probably by the DOT inspection area.
Yeah.
Bottlenecks there. Do they even have that inspection open for vehicles, or they just go through?
It's just you just blast through. I've seen people off to the side, but I don't know if anybody. It's never get over here and let us check out your car.
I thought it was years and years ago. That one, and the same thing with the one up by the San Onofre up there on the 5 freeway going to LA. There's that checkpoint. Well, it's a DOT inspection, weigh scales, that kind of stuff. But I thought they had like a immigration inspection like guy that you went by and they looked at you and they drove on by kind of thing. They have one like that out in the desert. I remember. I'm sure there's a border patrol checkpoint coming back, and they would like have the dogs and the whole thing. I remember coming back with my work truck because we go to the desert a lot for do deliveries, and we come by and we have to go through the inspection coming back, and they would like get the dogs, and they would like one guy even like pounded on my tanks to see if they were like still full.
Yeah,
and they had the mirrors and whatever and all that kind of stuff, and they had a car to the side. And it was getting tossed. I saw, like, they're at the side, and they were just ripping everything out and doing whatever they're doing, getting all the drugs they hide, and that kind of stuff. So, but
do you ever drive? Do you have for work? Do you ever come anywhere up near here with your truck, or you mostly?
We used to a lot. We had, I'm gonna say probably when I first started there. I don't know what happened, but they were giving us all the Temecula, Murrieta. I think I might went up to Paris. But mostly Temecula, Murrieta area, we were doing a bunch of stations up there. I think even, what's the other town I'm thinking of? It's not quite up to Lake Elsinore, although I did do the one on Lake Elsinore one time. That place is far away.
Winchester?
Yeah, Winchester. We did funny, I was in Winchester. So Winchester has 2 Arcos on Winchester, right? And I didn't know that. So I only knew of the one that I went to, which was far to the east. And so I go up there one day. And I'm doing the delivery. And I'm at Winchester. Okay, great. I've been to that one. So I go up there. I go to the station. And I look at the address. I look at the address on paperwork. And I look at the address at the station. I'm like, did you guys change the address or something? Because it doesn't match up. And it's only Winchester I know, And I said, no, there's another one across the freeway on the west side of the freeway. And I'm like, oh, well, I didn't know that. I had no idea. But so I went over there, but we should go up there a lot. It seemed like every Sunday, like every truck was heading up there. I don't know. We don't go there much anymore. unless there's like some certain weird something happening. I don't know whether they're down up there or we're up busy. I don't know. We're not busy down here. Who knows? You know, we're kind of busy, but yeah, I used to go up there a lot.
It was definitely like extenuating circumstances where
it
was not.
But we were going up there quite a bit. It was literally like everybody was going up there. At one point, I mean, especially on the weekends, they were sending us up there all the time on Sunday. I remember Sundays, I was always going up there. So all the Arcos up in that whole area I've been to pretty much.
Yeah.
In that region. So yeah, but the smart freeway you're saying, the reason they were saying they want to make it say it's smart is because they want to have less cars on the freeway at certain rush hours during, like in that little pocket there from like where's this region? Is it when you go down the hill to the 70, whatever it is by your house, whatever that road is? Is it by Pachanga? Whatever that road is there.
Oh, 79.
79. Yeah. So by 79 all the way to what? The 215?
I think so. Because a lot of times that's where people are trying to go is between Murrieta and then as you go to 215 that takes you to Menifee and Paris and some of those places. Not Paris,
France, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's very confusing.
Straight on down and make your way to Paris.
I know it sounds like it's you're sending you over to France. It's not the same. And trust me,
and Ontario is not Canada either. So.
Well, I thought it was. For me, it's up north, so maybe it is. I don't know.
There was some YouTubers that are actually from Canada, but little tangent where they were talking about Ontario, Canada, and they were on like one of those kind of road trip style deals, and they were showing pictures of Ontario, Canada, and they were kind of painting it a little bit in like a negative light and everything. And I was looking at some of the pictures.
You mean California?
No, they were in Canada. They were in Ontario.
Okay.
Canada, but they were showing pictures and things, and it looked really similar, to be totally honest. And I got a little confused because they do sometimes make their way down to California, and I was like, did you guys like swap some footage here or something, or is it?
It's very possible. Really... I mean, as a content creator, if you're always shooting stuff, like that's why I think you have to be really good at like organizing in folders and like because even myself here, like. I have got so much backlog of podcast episodes we recorded that I am trying to like get organized and figure out how to keep things organized the best I can. And if you're shooting stuff and just, sending it to some massive drive or Dropbox or whatever, I mean, you could easily, and you typed it in there like Ontario.
Yeah.
You could be like, which Ontario is this? Doesn't look like
it
says. It could be one or the other. I don't know. Whatever. Just use it. And then their video guys like, well, I'm just using it for whatever we're doing today. So
yeah,
it's good to go. But yeah, so the freeway is supposed to be able to like less congestion. How bad does it get in that section there on the freeway?
I mean, it's like, luckily for me, I'm not in it daily, but there's
but
times
you've seen
where
it though. You know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah. And the interesting thing, honestly, is when you're when we go through our daylight savings change.
Oh my gosh, that's the worst. When it's dark or early, everybody freaks out.
Yeah, but the interesting thing about it is when you're coming over that hill and then going down is if you remember that kind of big bridge that we have that's sort of like. I think it's right before you get to Fallbrook, I think.
Oh, yeah. I know what bridge you're talking about. Yeah, it's in Fallbrook area. Or just for Fallbrook. Yeah.
And as you're coming over that, especially, again, when the time change, when it's dark early, and you go over that or past that and then come downhill, and you start to see all the brake lights just like they just lighten up the sky, basically,
it's like
with
Christmas
everybody.
Came early, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, I guess, kind of paints a little picture of how bad and bottlenecked it gets kind of around that area.
I've heard people say that when they live in the Temecula area or even Murrieta area and they work down here in the San Diego area, that you need to leave San Diego area to go up there quite early or they're going to be sitting in traffic. And the traffic is just backed up.
Well, the craziest thing is it's gotten earlier and earlier.
That's what I'm saying. You have to leave at noon.
Yeah, basically. And it's, at what point really is that feasible, really? Because, just with my situation, I actually work a bit. When I do go down, I work a bit in the morning and I find a pocket right around like 9 o'clock to 9:30 to drive down. And then that really at that point is only like a 40-minute drive or whatever, as opposed to if I tried to get out with everybody else at say 7:30, 8 o'clock, it's going to easily be an hour 10, hour 20 drive. And, that time is going to get wasted now where I could have been doing something at that point. And so, reverse that. If I was trying to not have to deal with the traffic coming back, I would have to leave by 12:30 or something to be able to, right at 1:30, 2 o'clock, people are all backed up on the freeway. So,
well, and I get it. I mean, houses are way cheaper. Well, they were. I don't think they are now.
I tell people now, like the Delta is not really that big anymore.
Like, I mean, you used to be able to buy like half price. Whatever it was here, it was like half price. It might still be that, depending on the area. I mean, it depends. There's a lot of factors going into this. But, that's when people used to tell me, oh, you can buy a house for so much cheaper up here. But the commute, man, the commute and the hours and the traffic and sitting in traffic and the wear and tear on the car and the maintenance and all this stuff. And it's like, is the math mathing, at the end of the day, when you add all that into it, I don't know, but also at the same time, like my ideal, like I remember when I had my condo and I lived like literally maybe 1 mile away from work, like that's how close it was. And I mean, I was late every day because I lived so close. I was like, I'll help,
Isn't it just crazy how that works? It's like, I'm gonna live close, like I'll be right here, and it's worse. You're a lot less planned than when you got an hour commute.
Oh yeah, and so I was always late, but it was so close, I'm like my truck was literally on the full gas tank for like an entire week.
All the time, yeah.
Even though I went to work every day, it was like always like it just moved. Oh, the needle just moved. Look at that. It's on full forever. Look, it just moved. Kind of a thing. A little bit. Down to 3/4 of a tank. Kind of deal. And so but that was cool. I think that's kind of cool. Like my ideal like dream, I guess, would be to have a job. I guess maybe work from home probably would solve this, but like if you could live so close to work to where you'd have to commute so far. But I think sometimes commuting is part of the fun of it all, you get to get in your car and listen to music, podcast, whatever. You kind of like, unwind or kind of unplug, I guess, from everybody else too, And so you're in your own little zone,
There's parts of it that you enjoy, especially too, like, just again, if you enjoy driving, like, and you hopefully with me, like I have a couple of actually kind of nice roads in between here and going down south. So, and I got a little detour that I'll take if it does get really heavy. I can kind of take this little back end to get through Escondido before getting on the freeway. So, there's little perks like that. It's always cool too when you see like some cool cars on the road when you're, even when you're stuck in traffic too. I kind of like, kind of mini car spotting here and there. It's like one morning it felt like a video game lobby because it was,
oh, really?
I was going down and then there was a guy in an M2, one of those, the typical like blue BMW M2. It was like a 964 911 that like showed up and we were all kind of like in a little section, like kind of driving by. And so it's like sometimes you get little kind of tastes of like a little fun car scenario like that. But
yeah, it's the same way too. Like with me at the state, when I go to LA, I went to LA, was it last week? And ironically, speaking of Hyundais, I was passing the Hyundai building, I always drive by and look over there and see what they got outside. You ever see the Hyundai building over there off the 405?
Going towards LA?
Well, you're on the 405 freeway. It's in Fountain Valley, I believe.
I might actually, now that you say that, I might have saw that because I'll mention it later, but I was down in LA again, actually, fairly recently. So I think I did see it this time around.
Well, it's a big giant building next to the 405 freeway. It's their Hyundai headquarters in North America or West Coast or however they do it. Anyways, It's a big giant Hyundai building. And on the front of it, they have cars they put on display in the lawn right facing the freeway. So as you drive by in traffic, you can look over. It says Hyundai. I think now they're pushing their new. What's a new? Maybe it's not the Santa Fe. Maybe it's a Palisade. They're pushing those. They got those on display on the front there, and the big sign and banner for those. But whatever new car is, they have them out front and stuff. And I always drive by and see those, and I always think of you when I drive by the Hyundai headquarters over there.
Yeah,
and see it over this with new stuff they got as you're sitting in traffic here.
But the resident Hyundai enthusiasts.
Yeah. Well,
they're actually. I think that particular spot there, they're going to do a Cars and Coffee there, It's going to be, I think, early August that they're doing that, and they're going to have some of like their classic cars, and then some of their like obviously their newer, cooler stuff on display.
Are you going to be there for that? If you,
I wanted to plan it out, but I'm gonna be driving out to Monterey for Car Week that same day. Actually, we'll already be there because I think it's on Sunday. And we're driving up on Saturday. I was literally, when I found out, I was like, all right, maybe we can like get up super early.
Oh, wow.
Stop there first and then make the rest of the drive. But it would have been too much.
Dude, you had me at super, when you said super early, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, dude.
Yeah.
Super early. But this last weekend, was it last weekend here in San Diego? We hosted the NASCAR, was it a road course in Coronado, Navy base? And Courage himself here had a chance to check it out. What was it like?
Yeah, man. That was bucket list for sure. Just seeing NASCAR in general was bucket list. But yeah, I was not on my radar really. Just got the opportunity, and it was
you're
just
VIP.
me.
That's why they just say, "Hey, man."
Yeah. They were like, "This guy has to be here. This is
please, man,
local content creator."
Oh man, So first off, it's actually on the base itself. Did you have to go through security and check ID and all that stuff when you get on there?
Yeah, so they were definitely on it, in terms of, you had to have your driver's license. Obviously they checked whatever bags you were bringing in.
That's normal for most places.
Yeah,
but because it's on a base, did they go over the top?
I didn't really feel like, in my personal opinion, I've done concerts and I've, done other events and stuff like that. I didn't feel like it was that to the point where, I just felt as though like this is like a real cutthroat kind of deal. Like, dude, if you come in like with the wrong socks or something, you're gonna get thrown out kind of deal. I think they streamlined it to a point where they did have some checks with cars, like with actually parking. They were pretty stringent on like having an actual pass to be able to park, and like had to get your car kind of like briefly inspected, that kind of stuff. But I actually didn't drive. I drove to the ferry that takes you from downtown San Diego to Coronado.
Okay.
And so I actually walked over from the ferry to the base, and so they had that road that kind of leads right into it.
I know exactly where that is. Yeah,
yeah.
It's by Pio's. Pio's restaurants where the ferry drops off.
Yeah, yep. Right as you walk off, it's like that one right there, I think, right?
Yep.
Kind of towards the edge. So yeah, it was good. The ferry was pretty streamlined. At least going there, coming back the first day, I left way too late for good reason. I actually had a chance, like just a fluke, as I was walking back. I was like, kind of saw that they were gonna kind of have the victory lane in this one little section that I was walking past, and I started thinking like, nobody's here right now. I should probably just wait out the rest of the race and hang out and see the car come through victory lane. And so I hung out, and I think I got to talk to the guy, Austin Hill. I think it was his parents that I was talking to, just like there they had a divider and everything, but they were just on the other side, and I was talking to them for a minute.
Nice.
And that was like the coolest thing ever. But obviously I paid for it because I didn't get back to the ferry until about 7:45, 8 o'clock. And it was a whole thing about, obviously the ferries were inundated with all of these people that weren't usually taking it. But, we made it back. I made it back home the first night, like around 10:30 or so.
Double days?
So that was the stipulation. Again, I got these through work. Basically, I got a ticket through work. And the stipulation was they were looking for people that could go both days for Saturday and Sunday.
What does it matter if it's free tickets to them? Are there free tickets? Or how does it work?
I think the thing is that a lot of people either choose one day or the other.
Oh, yeah.
And, and usually they tend to choose the Sunday. And
that's that like the busy main. It's like the main.
That's the main race. Yeah.
Okay.
So
that
was
makes
the
sense.
main cup race. So they wanted to make sure they kind of, again, just for that particular scenario, they wanted to make sure they kind of had a real consistent attendance over both days. And so that was why they kind of emphasized it. They were like, if we don't find anybody that can go there, like we'll kind of go down the line, but they're going to prioritize somebody that can go both days. And so if that was like, that's the only criteria, I'll take it. Like, it was a lot. It was a commitment driving up and back both
who
days.
Else
and
went with you? Just you by yourself?
I was all by myself.
Oh
man.
my God. So you didn't have tickets for the kids?
No.
What?
They my neither one of them would have hung that long. It was a pretty.
Do they have food, restrooms, things like that?
They did, but like the food lines were like really, really, really long. Like the bathroom lines, you know, they certain sections you could kind of get in and realize like, okay, there's not a lot of people here, but it was going to be a lot to, especially if it was just me, because my wife's not that much into that, you know, kind of stuff either.
Was it loud too? I mean, was it like earplugs?
Oh my goodness, yeah. There's a point where you just like, if you're in the middle of a conversation and they're all going by full speed, you just gotta wait.
So basically, don't try to record a podcast episode right in the middle of the track.
Try to do what we did at Willow Springs.
Yeah, but louder than Willow Springs, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just something like so special about seeing that, especially, you know, at like the beginning of a restart or something like that, when all of the cars are together and they just, you know, I was seated on between turns 9 and 10, I think.
Now,
8
for
and
your
9.
seats, were you kind of high elevated so you can like see like around the bend and stuff, kind of a good aerial view, or is it like you're so close you can't see much? Or
no, so it was. So that's the thing about racing, especially on a road course, is that there's really no bad seat on that corner. Because even if you're way up, like you see a lot, but even being down low, they make it so that you can still see everything. But obviously, once they pass your corner, you're waiting. You're watching
for
the screen the whole time until they come around again.
Now there's a screen you can see. They can see the other side of the track. Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the announcer's always going, so you kind of know what's going on. But you know, you're kind of waiting it out to get to that point. But even being a 3.5 mile course, I mean, these guys are like they're flying through this course, and you know, you're coming back. I don't remember like fastest lap times or their average lap times, but it's pretty quick. You know, how you see them go through, like they're gone for a while, you watch the screen, and then all of a sudden you kind of hear in the distance, they're kind of coming, making their way back around. So, you know, it would be cool to kind of see a speedway setting where you can potentially kind of see the whole thing.
Like a regular NASCAR track, you're saying, like a normal track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been to NASCAR twice myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, both times in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And it was crazy. It was like being at at a football game. Like being at it was like being at like an NFL game. Only difference of being two teams there. There's like how many different drivers or whatever it is. And they had so many like swag trucks parked. Dude, they have swag trucks parked there.
That was one of the coolest things. Is like, there's an aisle section where every team had their truck.
Right. It's like almost like a
straight up.
Right. There was almost like a Roach Coach like food truck, but like for swag.
But for swag, yeah.
Right. It was all popped up. I remember seeing those at NASCAR. They had all the drivers had their own. Of course, the bigger drivers had like the bigger ones and like the bigger stuff. And all that kind of stuff. But I think the event here in San Diego had not just like cars, but I think it had trucks and stuff too, didn't they?
They did. I think Friday was the truck series. I think, which I heard that. I don't know if it was just that they made it available for like the military, local military, and all that.
It makes sense if they did.
Yeah, but I think some people did make it to like all three kind of events, but the main events, were Saturday, which were all stock car events.
In Vegas it was like that too. It was like Friday, Saturday, Sunday was like the main deal, and then of course Saturday was I think called like the Bush Series League or Bush or it's almost like JV version, I guess. Maybe it's not JV, and probably people are NASCAR fans probably gonna hate me for saying this, but like I don't know, I'm not a NASCAR person, but I thought it was like a JV version, and like the varsity version was like the Sunday race or whatever, like the big deal race and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I remember that when I saw it was super crazy loud, even with earplugs on, and like you had to wear earplugs. Did you have to wear earplugs when you were there?
Oh yeah. So it was a cool hack actually though, was that I had my AirPods in at one point, just because during some downtime I was just listening to some music or whatever. And I actually realized like, oh, I can just use my AirPods. Like, even if they're not actually, if you do noise cancel, like it really does actually like pretty much cancel out even that. But even just having them on in transparency mode is basically almost
transparency mode.
So transparency mode is basically it's trying to still bring in the like audio from outside, like if you're having a conversation, but it'll still play the audio that you're listening to. So like AirPods have the little mics, obviously, that you use to
basically
talk.
you can hear, like we can have a conversation, but you can still listen to music at the same time. That'd be kind of distracting, wouldn't it be?
little bit, but obviously, like if you were in a full-on conversation, you'd probably have the music pretty low, and it's more so too just so you can hear ambient noise. So it's not like you're completely isolated from
Dude, I
what's
was going
going
to get
on
myself a
around
pair
you.
of AirPods. I saw them at Costco. I was like, oh yeah, but
Yeah.
I have ones like over here headphones like these that are Bluetooth or whatever they are. I guess they're wireless, whatever they are, and noise canceling too. I've used those for flights, airplane, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I have the earbuds. I have a couple pairs of those written around here. But my phone doesn't take my phone's a newer iPhone. It doesn't have the plug for it. It doesn't have
yeah, you can't. Yeah,
I don't have the plug for the earbuds, but earbud. What are they called now? And so I'd have to.
It's weird. They got earbud. They have buds, and then they have like the actual AirPods. But then they had the Beats Audio, which I had those for a long time. I tell people all the time, like I mean, I can't. It's one of those things where like you can do without it until you have them, and then you can't. It's so hard to go back to regular headphones after that. At least for if you're used to like being out on the go and everything like that, it's like
it depends where you live. Like if I was living in like New York City or someplace like that, or even San Francisco, we have to like walk around, take a bus or take the trolley or take the whatever subway. And I'm sure that's all everybody does is AirPods all day or whatever, or even the big cans or whatever. They have that all the time because you're sucked into your public transportation where you're just like sucked into your phone. You're just like watching whatever. You get the headphones going. My kids do it all the time. But I didn't know about using them for like
yeah, it was interesting because they did give you those little orange ones that you just stick into your ear and everything, and it got annoying doing that. And like I said, it was just kind of unconscious where I just put them in for something else, and they started back racing. And I like realized like, oh wait, like this actually kind of helps. Like I can still hear them, but it's not deafening loud. But
it gets crazy loud.
You do really need them. Like it's some events. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. That would probably be permanent ear damage if they didn't have them.
Right. We had him for I took my son to NASCAR that second time, and he was young. I forget how old he was. He was probably your kid's age, maybe younger. Yeah. And we had headphones. We had the headphones that went over the headphone, everything plus headphones on top of that, and that kind of deal. And it was crazy loud. It was loud, and you wouldn't think it would be because you're outside. You wouldn't think the sound would leave the area because it's not bouncing off things or whatever. Maybe it is. I don't know.
It's just. I mean, I think the cool thing about it too is like I know certain sections were like kind of adjacent to, like you're saying, reflecting off of buildings and stuff. Like they're adjacent to some of those big like barrack buildings and stuff on the base, and so some of the straightaways, just the sounds that you hear are just so like it's just so hard to put into words because it's such a combination of just the engines themselves, but like what they're reflecting off of and everything. It was. I mean, and there's just nothing that sounds like like NASCAR stock cars. Like it's
V8,
it's
baby.
A
that
very
is a
particular,
V8.
yeah. I mean, the day that because I know like Formula One, for example, like have gone through this like iteration of like having naturally aspirated V12s and V10s to now like turbocharged V6s. The day that like any proposition of NASCAR trying to say, oh, we're going to do like twin turbo V6s,
4 cylinders,
yeah, 4 cylinders, like, because I mean, you think about it, like, like the Raptor again, like they do still make the Raptor R, but making the Raptor now, like, be a dominant, twin turbo V6 and all of that, they can make power out of it.
Dude, new one, even with the V6, they really have changed the exhaust to make it sound like louder and like more
it's
meaner.
Got
yeah. I heard one drive by the other day. I was like, okay, it sounds like a V6. I get it, but it does have a tone and a sound to it. Like it does have like a Raptor exhaust on there, and the reason why they did that is because the V6.
Yeah,
they want to make it sound a little more like a macho truck. Or whatever kind of thing, and
it's got its own distinct tone, but it's just not the same. Yeah, I mean, you could it would never be the same if there was ever any movement in that direction to change NASCAR to try and be more efficient in that way.
Electric NASCAR, imagine that,
dude. Talk about just the nail in the coffin. That would just be it.
Oh man, how funny is that though? But the V8s do sound good. Now I wonder what size V8s they put in there.
That's a good question, actually.
Because I know that when I went to Monster Jam, the monster trucks, they have big V8s. They have I think they're like 7 liter or over 7, maybe even 8. 8 liter, but like 7 liter ish.
I think 7 liter seems kind of like maybe where they would sit.
With a supercharger, like that with a supercharger. And they use like, I don't kind of gas they use, but it's like not cheap stuff.
Yeah. They like these get the NASCAR at least you for sure are using like E85. Like you can smell it. Like they're going, it smells like
it might be higher E85. Might be like E90 or something.
No, you're right. Yeah,
or whatever it is. Yeah, and so they're burning through that and stuff and all that stuff. But it's good times, man. They're super loud and crazy. And the one thing, here's the thing I'm curious about. In a normal NASCAR race where you are running around the circle, right? You're going around the oval, you're, turning to the left the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
You're not doing any like slowing down to brake for a sharp turn like you would on this course. I wonder if the brakes last much longer on a regular NASCAR, event versus on the event you were at. Because the event you're at, you're constantly, you're gassing, slowing down for the turn, gassing it up again. Where if you're on a regular, like everybody's in the crowd. I mean, I know you're in the crowd of cars and you got to but if you think about it, if you're on a regular freeway driving, even if you're in traffic or not, everyone's kind of going by the same pace. You're not using the brakes all the time. Unless you're one of those drivers. You've seen those drivers, that they're like always gas pedal and brakes. That's it. 2 modes. That's it. Like you can take your foot off the accelerator, let it coast. You can do that, guys, right? It's not like it's like full throttle, full brake, kind of thing. But I always kind of wonder if they're not using the brakes as much in a normal NASCAR versus something like that, and they have to make modifications to the car, or are they completely different type of cars?
No, I mean that's this one point, not to belabor it too much, but this that course was so rough in terms of there's just so many different surface types. Obviously this is most of it is like aircraft hangar carrier and all of that kind of deal where it so many different surfaces, so bumpy. They had a lot of iRacing footage where people they had uploaded the track with all of the 3D scans and everything of the track, and you can just tell that there was no point on that track where the car is fully settled in terms of, just flat out just let it go kind of deal. Like there's just so many little bumps and things.
It's
where
like
you
a normal road down the street here.
They're just and just imagine just again, just knowing that the track surface is so uneven. And on top of that, you're surrounded by all of these cars that are right next to you with all the turbulence of cars moving around and all of that. I mean, it takes so much concentration to
and the tires what kind of tires they use, you think, for that?
Not even sure, but I know that this track for sure put them through their pace because to your point is a lot of your wear is pretty predictable on a oval track. It's gonna.
But I'm sure there's some NASCAR nerds who are gonna be like, no, it's not. It's really difficult. You use the brakes. You use all the stuff. Yeah, okay, but I mean, it's not the same as you're going through you're speeding up, slowing down, speeding up, slowing down.
There's a lot of it on this track for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure going through the brakes. I'm sure they got to change the brakes out, or whatever they got to do. I don't know. Do they even change brakes out on a regular NASCAR race? I know they changed tires.
As part of their actual when they do a pit stop.
Right.
I sort of doubt it. I mean, sometimes when they have maybe a really long caution, because they did have a few of those. They had a couple of pretty big crashes that actually moved some barrier walls, and they actually had to re-engineer the barrier walls on the fly kind of deal.
It takes forever.
So,
they had the sweepers come through and sweep everything up and stuff and remove stuff.
One of the first cautions that started the race on Saturday was about 40 minutes or something like that. They had just started the race, and I think maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 laps in, they had went right into the wall and had to fix that up. They surprisingly that car was still they were still able to get that car back going again. And actually, one thing that happened too that was not something that would ever really happen on a regular NASCAR course. They had a storm drain actually, or a gutter cover actually come up and basically lodge itself in one of the car's radiators.
No way.
it was, I guess, I mean, apparently like they had issues with that with the Las Vegas one because it being on regular roads and stuff. And they over the last couple of years, they had fixed it. They showed how they had done like special epoxies and everything, but just having that much force of like those cars, just like the turbulence of them just flying over it, like those first few laps, loosen one up.
Crazy.
And I think it might have been Jimmie Johnson, who I actually just learned this year he's from San Diego.
It was his car. I went to high school with the guy.
Yeah.
I did.
No, for real?
For real, yes. He was older. He was a few years. He was, I think he was a senior and I was a freshman.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Man. So you should have been in the club, man. You are in the club.
Well, I know. He didn't call me up today, hang out, whatever.
He didn't call you up that weekend for.
No, he did not. But yeah, I went to high school with him. I learned about this. I was dating a girl who was telling me that this, and I was like, no, let me see. I kid you not. I pulled up my old yearbook, the yearbook, and there he was, like senior. I was freshman. I can see. Oh, there he is in the yearbook, right there.
That's pretty crazy. That's what this episode needs to be titled. I went to high school with Jimmie Johnson.
Yeah. I forgot about that. But I went to high school with him, and there's a taco shop nearby that he used to go to, and his picture, well, a lot of it still is in there, but they had pictures of him like all around, like signed stuff, jerseys and signed who knows what, all over in the taco shop display on the walls and ceiling and stuff. And good times.
That's cool. Yeah. What's that taco shop, by the way?
They might have changed the name of it. Now I think about it. It was Ponchos or Los Ponchos or Ponchos. One of the, because either they dropped the Los, or is it just Ponchos or Los Ponchos or whatever it is now. It's still there, whatever. But not that far from the high school, and not that far from me now. When I think about it, and but yeah, I remember that. I rocked the Jimmie Johnson gear when I went to NASCAR races, and actually bet money in Vegas. I bet money on him to win. The first time I went to Vegas and saw the NASCAR, I was so like Jimmie Johnson had the hat and everything. Did not put any money down. He wins the race. Oh, great. He wins. Everybody's like high-fiving me on the tour bus back to the casinos because I had the Jimmie Johnsons. Oh, your guy won and everything, right? So the next time at the NASCAR, like I'm putting money down on Jimmie Johnson, right?
Yeah.
He loses. And so I'm like, oh, man. But good times. I have to have the hat somewhere. I don't know where it is. I mean, I've got hats. I've got so many hats from like work and all these different things. I don't wear a ton of hats. I don't wear a ton of hats unless I have to. Yeah. but I don't know where
I'm the exact opposite. I'm literally always wearing a hat. But that was actually those 2 days out at the race were the only days that I actually didn't wear a hat.
Oh, you get burnt probably.
And I highly yes. My nose got weirdly. Yeah, my nose.
Right there with the water and it's all white top for the Navy base. It's like prime, like burn your face off kind of stuff.
Dude, learned my lesson heavily with that.
Yeah. Well, NASCAR was fun. Would you ever go back to when the time of going back next year? Are you going to go back?
They're trying. Yeah, I heard they're trying. I mean, it'd be interesting if they do it again at the base, because I know that in and of itself was a logistical nightmare for them. I mean, they pulled it off really well, but I know that there was just so much in terms of regulation and all of that they had to deal with. But no, 100%. I mean, if they come back, like it has to be something that I got to try and make it to, because it was, and obviously I would try to take the whole family now at this point, make it a whole thing, but. It was really cool. It was cool to kind of go over to Coronado. I haven't been over to Coronado in forever either. So
yeah, I took the Z out that way on a test drive. I did shot some footage, and after I got the car, we went down Silver Strand, and then we went back around. And I used to go to Coronado all the time. Yeah, and I looked for a place to live over there. In fact, I stayed in Coronado and in this little like bed and breakfast kind of place or whatever. And but I looked at places to buy. And if you want to like realize how far your money does not go look at buying anything in Coronado, like anything, even like the smallest little condo is like, if you do your search parameters and you just like say anything kind of available, like you start from like price to like the lowest to the highest. The lowest is going to be like over $1 million.
Yeah.
At least. And it's like a 1-bedroom condo with like a $1,200 a month HOA or something, or something kind of thing like that. And so, but it's it's like really close to my work. Like if I was there, but the bridge does get backed up though. The bridge gets like I seen it from work. I seen like the traffic on the bridge at work.
Yeah.
And speaking of, you have to do that because you took the ferry. But did you hear about the traffic jam?
Oh, dude, I could see it. We when we took the first day over, when we came over, you literally saw it. Just I don't like that concept of just being stuck on a bridge like that.
Oh no,
you're just not able to go anywhere. And yeah, it was pretty. Coming back though, like it was. I heard that people said that they actually had the traffic flowing pretty well for people that were leaving the event. But trying to get into the city, in the mornings was definitely a big headache for sure.
Oh yeah, they had warning signs posted all around, like everywhere in town to avoid that whole area. And luckily, I was I was home. I wasn't there. I was off. I didn't have to work or whatever, And if I did, I think the traffic was kind of isolated just to the bridge and just to like right there, And so I wasn't too worried about it. It wasn't like, the whole city's jammed up, whatever. But I remember that, in Coronado there, I remember one year we went, I don't know how we got invited to this, but we got invited to this massive 4th of July party on a mansion right there in Coronado facing San Diego Bay. We're talking, this place had catering, the mansion did, catering, a live band, and the fireworks were like right on the backyard, like patio, like right there kind of deal. Yeah. And so we went there. It was fantastic. So I took lots of photos. There's photos of me probably on social media everywhere, all kinds of stuff and video and all kinds of stuff. It was super awesome. I don't know how we knew these people. I don't know how the connection was. It had like a pool in the front yard behind these gates. It looked like a pool. It looked amazing with waterfall and the whole thing. And then the backyard had the water right there. And it had a boat that like had an elevator that went and took the boat from like a top landing deck because it's like elevated a little bit down to the water. Like lowered the boat to the water kind of stuff.
Wow.
Anyways, and so, but we left that place like after 4th of July, on 4th of July, taking dude, all the roads funnel to that one main road that takes, I think it's 75. Is that what it is? That takes you over the bridge.
Yeah.
Orange hat, whatever. Anyways, everything funneled into that. The problem was everybody was going into the one road to get out of there. And they came in from the different sides. Like, well, we were closer to the bay side, so our house was over on the bay side. So the road we took from that cut over from the bay side to that road. And then if you're on the other side, like the south side of the island, like the Silver Strand side, and I even thought about like if I can figure out a way to work way down to the Silver Strand and go that way. But the problem was you could not cross. It was so jammed up. The road was so packed up you couldn't cross to get on that side of the outside of the island. And so we were stuck on this side of the island trying to get to the road to get out of there. And I forget how many hours it was, but it was hours to get to the 5 freeway.
Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah. I mean, that's the downside of just there's no other way to go. Like, I mean, and even on a normal day, like if you were like, oh, I don't want to go the bridge, I'll just go Silver Strand. Like that's an extra, like, probably 30, 40 minutes to like go all the way down the Strand and then come back up, through Imperial Beach, I think, where it kind of lets you out and come back up. Not too bad. I
even thought about moving down there, to tell you the truth. I thought moving down to Imperial Beach area because right now, as far as like beach property in San Diego, it is the cheapest. It's the cheapest, but it's cheap for a reason because it's like the Tijuana sewers right there and stuff too. But you can find
be swimming in those.
Yeah, you can find the beach is always closed. It's never open. And so at least the water's never open. And so the down there you can find houses cheaper-ish, not like, I mean, they're cheaper than PB, they're cheaper than La Jolla. And you can find like a condo or even rentals and things down that area, which are fairly, not crazy cheap, but they're cheaper. So I thought about moving down there because like, oh, I love Coronado. I can drive to Silver Strand to Coronado. The Silver Strand Beach is right there. Coronado's right there. And then my work, like I just I can get on the 5 freeway right there. And it's from can we do a station down there or 2 stations down there? And so I know how far it is from there to work. It's not that far. Maybe 10-minute drive, maybe, And so I'm like, oh, that sounds like a good spot to be. So I looked at places down there. I haven't bought anything yet, but by the time this comes out, maybe I did. Who knows? But yeah, like, I mean, I thought it kind of a cool place because you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get kind of like, you're kind of by the water, you're kind of by Coronado, which is nice. You're not paying Coronado prices, and yet I'm still kind of close to work at the same time and stuff like that. So I thought about it, I don't know. We'll see. But Coronado's great. I love the fact they brought it here, and it was all over my feed. It was all NASCAR stuff, all San Diego stuff. All I was seeing, it was great. And I was looking for you.
Was proud to be in here. I know I'm not a born and raised San Diegan.
Oh, that's right. I forgot transplant.
I felt the pride, man. The secondhand pride, I guess you could say, but it was really cool that they did it for sure. Yeah.
Now, being that you've been to this one, would you go to a normal NASCAR race? Have you been to a normal NASCAR race?
No, this was my first in-person NASCAR experience. I mean, now, like, I do actually, I'm curious about trying to make it out to Vegas at some point, at least seeing that.
Is there one in Fontana still? Do they still have that one up there?
I don't think so. I don't know if they actually still... Was it Fontana or Paris or
Riverside? Somewhere by you. Yeah. I thought they had like a big track out that way.
Maybe so, but yeah. I don't know if it's still one of their like usual stops anymore. I have to look that up probably, but I am getting advertisements for the Vegas one because I think that one is from like October 2nd to the 4th.
When I went, I think it was in April or March, and it was cold.
Yeah, in Vegas, yeah.
It was weird. It was like cold, but they got warm, but it was cold. I remember like you would wear a jacket and stuff, kind of cold. And it was windy, like cold and windy, because you're in the mountains and stuff. Because the track isn't in like the strip. It's not.
It's not. Yeah,
It's not there. It's like out in the. It's out way past like. I think if you ever did the drive, what's it called? The speed.
Yeah, they used to have the speed. Like Speed Vegas is one thing, but they used to have a different one.
The different one is the one where I think closest to the track. It's kind of where the track is at, somewhere over that direction. And so it's North Vegas, past downtown, way out in the sticks. Kind of, you can see it because like out in the middle of nowhere. But but that's where it is. And I think I had tickets for free or something like that. But I don't know if they cost to go to that kind of thing. But it's always kind of fun to be able to like do an event like that, see what it's like. It's almost like when you go to a sporting event and you got all the vendors and you got all the fans and you got everybody there cheering everybody on and doing all the stuff. It's a fantastic, fun time, and I think it's great. It's a great experience. I wish I could have gone to the one here in town.
Yeah. Well, no, it sounds like we're gonna have another run at it for sure. But yeah, like I said, it was a blessing to be able to go and experience that for sure.
Wasn't there something else you wanted to bring up tonight? You want to talk about?
So I know there was a long good amount of podcasts back. There was some discussion about project cars and
project cars. Yeah. I love it. I mean, my Z is pretty much like a project car that runs. So I mean, it's not like in a garage on blocks. But now, what would define a project car? Would it have to be like something that doesn't run? You got to get running, or is it like something that does run, but you kind of want to modify it, or what?
So yeah, no, that's a good question. I would say a project car is a car like it doesn't necessarily have to not run. Like that's it can be something that you can still depend on to an extent, but it either has things that need to be addressed. Like it's not.
It could be anybody's car. Really.
Exactly.
Anybody's car could be that car.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you got a check engine light or some low tire tread,
it's a project car. You tell the guy at the smog check guy. Don't worry about it. It's a project car.
Yeah. Don't worry about that light on. But no, I feel like a project car is just maybe a car that you get with the intent, knowing that you're gonna put like some type of extra work, even if it is just maintenance. But a lot of times it is a car that you consider, you're going to modify somehow, or at least improve from its classic state, or some sort of that, or you're using it for a specific purpose. Like
now,
you bought
probably not a daily driver.
Well, that's the funny thing about it is that I tell people all the time, like I've never had a like a legitimate project car, but I've had a car that should be a project car.
Yeah,
because my 300ZX definitely should have qualified as a project car. And that was your daily driver? It was my daily driver. Yes, I drove that car, again all over San Diego, back and forth up to the Bay Area and back. Had the engine replaced and on its way back up, I drove it down back to the Bay and then drove it back and a coolant hose broke somewhere like midway, somewhere on the 5 or whatever. And luckily, it was just the coolant hose and like the connection, so I was able to repair it on the way and drive it back. But there were a lot of those type situations where it's like you got to get this running just so you can get it somewhere else and then figure out how to fix it later type deal. So
that would be a project car then.
Yes.
By definition. But I think also by definition, I think a project car, when I think of a project car, I think of a car that like, yeah, obviously all those things, repairs and whatever and stuff like that. But I think also the fact that like it's not your daily driver.
Mm-hmm.
It's a car that if it
shouldn't be.
If it sits in the garage for 6 months while you're doing whatever you're doing to it, okay. That's what I think of when I imagine a project car. It's like kind of like an ongoing project. Maybe it runs, maybe it doesn't. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. It's not. My life doesn't depend on whether this car is working.
Right, my income does not depend on me getting to work with this thing.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point where I'm not like out there like knocking people's door down although I did kind of do that, but I'm not necessarily actively like out there. I'll explain a little bit, but it's kind of just like if it were to happen in the right circumstances for obviously the right price. I've talked about it before that I am one of the few out there that loves the F-body Camaros, the 90s catfish Camaros.
What years are we talking that from? Like 93, 91? No, not it was like 90.
90, yeah.
93.
So 93 was the start, and then it kind of had a half-life. 97, I think it was 97 to 2002 was when they was the last version of it.
Okay.
And I'm like even more like there's like the camp of people that like that generation Camaro that's already small, and then I'm like the even bigger minority that likes the first generation of the catfish Camaro. So had like the kind of rectangular, like it had a circular cutout, but it had the rectangular headlights that were kind of similar to the IROC Z's headlights.
Okay.
Everything else is pretty similar body-wise to the later generation.
Okay.
But it also had an earlier LT1 motor as opposed to the LS motors that were in the later ones. But again, I'm a very small minority that wants that generation Camaro. And for a while, you could get them for super cheap. You still can get them relatively cheap.
Now, when you say fairly cheap, are you talking like bring a trailer? Like I physically got to bring a trailer?
No, but they're still running though. That's the thing. Like,
okay.
You probably will want to bring a trailer just in case, but optional if you want to bring the trailer. But they you can still find some that are running. Like they weren't like that bad of cars that like none of them are just running at all. But you definitely want a V8 one because they made the V6s and those.
They were like back then
dogs.
The V6s back in the early 90s were, if you were lucky, you get 150 horsepower. I mean, if you're lucky on a good day, go downhill. Wind at your back. I remember, that's the thing. That's the thing I love about the VQ. When the VQ came out, it was like, holy crap, over 200 horsepower.
This is a V6 that's good. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Because everything V6 before that was like 150 horsepower.
Mm-hmm.
If you're lucky. And so the V8, but the V8, even the V8 back then, what were you pushing? Like 250 horse?
The LT ones were about 270 or 280. So
good.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
The LS kicked it like well over 300. So that's why people prefer those. And a lot of people just swap in the LSs into older LT ones anyway. But I have had specific eyes on one, and actually for a while, like it was off my radar. But there was one specific one that sat outside a neighborhood that I used to drive by all the time.
That's how it starts, man. You see one, you're like, oh, what's that one?
Yeah, what's that? I would drive past all the time. Oh, man, like it just is still sitting here, and it was a silver. I'm pretty sure, like probably a 93, 94. It is an automatic, but it is a Z28. So you got at least part of the puzzle, and swapping obviously costs money, but it is possible. But what happened was that I talked about it a little bit. It'd been sitting there for a while. I actually got to a point where I was actually considering writing like a note or something and seeing if they were interested in selling it. And within like that week of that happening, or me thinking about doing that, it had gotten kind of T-bone on the quarter panel.
Oh, man.
And it wasn't heavy. Like it looked like somebody probably just kind of misjudged how far over they were and kind of scraped that quarter panel area. just right where like behind where the like rear windshield or rear hatch is, which honestly is the worst from like a repair standpoint because it's just that panel is so hard to replace. But as long as it wasn't like a straight direct hit, a lot of times you don't have to worry about necessarily having like any frame damage or anything like that. So it was a situation of, it's like, okay, really, even if I was interested, do I want to deal with like, body work and repair? Whereas I was already going to be dealing with motor stuff and transmission stuff.
Right.
So,
now your budget's like, you got to divide your budget. Like, what am I going to spend the money on? What needs to be fixed? Like, what doesn't, what does? This, I mean, I'm sure lower the value of the vehicle.
Yeah. And that was kind of what started toying around my head, is for the right price, something like that. Again, as long as like it wasn't like, as long as the frame didn't get bent, as long as, it didn't get to the wheel and kind of mess up, your suspension in the rear, it probably still could be, again, a project car.
Well, that's the thing. It's gonna be a project car and not like, I mean, yeah, I guess it depends how, really look, whoever's selling the vehicle, like if they let you take it somewhere to like look it over and have someone look it over and kind of go through everything and kind of make sure that like everything is up and up and up.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Like, I mean, what were they asking for this thing? Do you have an idea?
No, I mean, the thing about it, I've never gotten a response. I actually did leave a note. I left a note, and then like literally the day after, it like we had a big rainstorm, and so I know the note just got washed off.
Well,
and then
what did the note say? Hey, my name is Courage. I want to buy your car. And so the dent was not my fault.
Yeah, no, I'm not leaving this note because I hit your car. Like I'm leaving it.
It's like, this guy get my car. He's looking at the note and everything.
Now he wants to know if I want to sell it. Like, hopefully they didn't think that, but the car actually like disappeared after I left that note.
Did it get washed away too?
Yeah, I guess I was like, it just disappeared. Like this really wasn't meant to be.
So
and it was probably
the guy took it out the back. He washed it. He's like, I'm gonna get a better offer. Watch this. I'm gonna wash it up real good and put it up front. And then we'll also get another note today.
Yeah. I'll get this already got a note. This, I know how to bring in more, but.
Right.
But I didn't see I didn't see the car for probably 3-4 months. So I thought for sure either they got rid of it, they just didn't want to deal with it or whatever. Come to find out, last week I was driving. Actually, it was on my way driving to NASCAR. I looked and there's a community that's pretty much right down the street from where it was parked, and it was parked right at the corner inside of this gated community, just right in that same little area, and it's looking the same. It looks like somebody's driving it because it's not just like, all dusty and dirt. Like it looks like somebody's actually driving the car. And I actually went and I was able to get into the community. I left another note the other day. So
he's like, he's going to write you back, leave my car alone. You keep following me.
Exactly.
I took this car away from you. I'm trying to hide the car and you keep following me.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're listening to the podcast, just tell me if you're interested in selling it or not. So, yeah.
Okay. Honestly here, how much would you be willing, honest question, willing to pay for this thing?
15 to 2 is like the most.
Now, have you done any kind of research on what it's valued at? Like just any kind of Google search or auto? Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you can really do like an Kelley Blue Book, but maybe something. There's something you can do. Yeah. You don't have the mileage or anything, but just kind of get it.
I don't know the mileage. I mean,
but you can guess. Okay, if you can guess what year it is, you can figure out the average people drive in America, and then kind of do an average on that to kind of get a guesstimate on the mileage. I'm assuming it's been sitting, but not even that. But like, if the average is say 12 or 13,000 a year, if the car is 20 years old, you kind of do the math on that, and you can come up with a range.
Yeah,
whatever that range is. So if you come in and finally talk to the person, they do show you the car, they do show you the mileage, you're like, oh, that sounds about right, or it could be way off. Oh, things sat forever, or the guy drove it to the moon and back. You never know, So, but 15 to 2, you said,
yeah. And that I did do some searching, and I mean, somebody would really have to like want to let it go, because even honestly, if it wasn't running, like theoretically, if it was like still like no accident or anything, not running, you could still probably ask $4,000 to $5,000 pretty easily.
Yeah, I don't know how many cars you can find for less than $2,000.
Yeah, Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day that I can't even remember what car it was, but they had found something that they got for like $2,000 or whatever, and obviously just put a bunch of money into it, and because I asked him, it was like, oh, I got it, I actually bought it from somebody for $2,000, and I was like, you did all of this? I imagine he was like, yeah, $2,000 car, threw some money into it, and so but it is pretty hard, especially something that's running and driving in decent condition, like. The days of just somebody's grandma just having something locked up that she just wants to get rid of is kind of becoming few and far between these days.
Well, you always hear about the story. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm sure it's based on a true story at some point. It's where the divorced couple, like the wife is like clearing the house out, and the husband like took off or whatever, and says, "Just I don't care. Just sell the Porsche, my Porsche, and just give me the money for it." And she sells it for like $1, or whatever kind of thing, and and sends him $1 back, and the actual proof it sold for $1 back to the guy. Yep. Like stories like that, or like the barn finds where like you find something like Ferrari or vintage Corvette, it's been sitting for 50 years in some barn or whatever, hasn't been touched, and it's like mint condition and wrapped up in like saran wrap or whatever. And like you buy it at like an estate sale for like $5 or whatever kind of thing. Like those kind of stories, like you hear about them, but I don't think they happen too often around here. We don't have a lot of barns really out here. So
there's some, maybe in Temecula, maybe, but like wine country, maybe.
Well, I think those stories really come out of like Tennessee and in like places where it's like a lot of backwoods kind of places, Yeah. I've been watching this Instagram I've been following, and they have videos where they like find cars like that, and they detail them and clean them and do the whole cleaning job. And they go over the whole like how they clean them and stuff. And they get them to like looking like brand new. Yeah. And that's one I saw. It was like some Ferrari, and it was in a barn and sat there for like 30 years kind of thing or whatever. And they took it and they did their thing on the thing, and they, they made it look, fantastic, all the chemicals, all the stuff they use, and the gloves and all the scrapers and scrubbers and all the power washers and all the stuff they use. And it looks great. Do they run? Does the car run? I don't think so. But I mean, it looks nice. So, I mean, it might get a good pretty penny at auction. So if you're going to take the car to auction and have it pushed through the auction, have them buy it.
And bring that trailer,
That's what that's all about. Bring the trailer. And so, so are you now 15 to 2000? What if they said like 5 or 10? Be like, yeah, forget it.
Oh yeah, no. That's, again, with that type of damage too, like, even though, like I said, it doesn't seem major, it's like from a body shop standpoint, it's just going to be super hard to get that right.
But they may see it as like, well, it runs. Do you need to fix that? Kind of thing. They're like, well, it's not like it's not damaging the frame. It's not like it's a safety issue. It's more like a cosmetic issue. And so it's not like a running issue, And if the car runs, not like, needs a bunch of work, but actually runs. I mean, they may ask for more.
And that's and that was my, like, because actually I haven't seen it actually in the last like couple days driving past that same little area, which tells me that it does run. So, that probably is going to be the case. It's like, this is, it's cosmetic, but the thing runs, like, especially if it still has under 100,000 miles, even being like an early 90, 93, 94, whatever. If it's under, 100,000 miles, like, I mean, again, they probably sat for a while, but that's really low miles for something of that year too. So it's probably got that going for it on the seller side too, is that, if it's just not something that they're looking to just like get rid of, and they barely drive it, and they're like, hey, I don't think anybody else is going to offer us anything for it, so maybe might as well just make a, grand or two, like, unless they're in that situation, then they're probably just going to say, hey, this is a running and driving V8, Camaro. So,
what if though they don't want to sell it though? They just have it and they're like, no, we're not selling this.
It's a possibility, because again, like I said, small minority of people that like that generation Camaro. Maybe there's some sentimental value or something of that sort.
Yeah, grandpa's car or something, or maybe we're giving it to my kid, or maybe we're waiting for the economy to turn around, or who knows what, and this thing will be worth
be worth
$10,000 or whatever kind of thing.
Which and I like I said, I'm not like at a point where I'm like, again, like busting down doors, like I gotta find this thing or find one of these, but it is one of those things that if I had the opportunity to get into one at like a real steal of a price because somebody is just, they don't want to deal with it anymore. And that's just the basis to
and that's
like
a car you
kind of
want
start to
too.
build
That's
off.
an important thing. It's not like it's any random car. It's a car that Courage himself here is actually after. I mean, it'd be a different story if he said, "Oh, Joe Blow's got a broken car in the front yard. He wants $1,500 for it. You want to buy it? What kind of car is it? Who cares? That's a different story.
Yeah,
a different story.
I just need the content. Like that's it.
Yeah, like when I was looking for cars to have a stick shift to train people on or train, like I was just searching like stick shift vehicles. And there was like in that price range, I was trying to get it down to like 2,000, but I couldn't find anything below 2,000. Or anything. Yeah, it was like 5,000, I think, range. And so, but also looking at like the major platforms like the Auto Traders, the Car Gurus. But I think there's probably like there's got to be a platform that you can search on that's like cars for cheap. Like not
you
just
got Craigslist.
Well, that's another one. Yeah, Craigslist. You never know about Craigslist.
Yeah,
I've bought and sold things on Craigslist plenty of times. Even I used to OfferUp a lot too, and OfferUp keeps sending me notifications for Zs, like 370Zs or 350Zs. I don't know why they keep sending me those. I was looking at them years ago, and they keep sending me. I don't know what it is, and so But yeah, I mean, that's another option too. I don't know if you can just Google, like, it's kind of, I wonder if it's like a super cheap. I guess Craigslist is probably it.
Yeah, Craigslist. Honestly, OfferUp too. Facebook Marketplace is one that I hear a lot about, but I haven't had a Facebook in forever. And we're like, just make it so you can like get on Facebook Marketplace.
But why? It's other options. That's the thing.
I feel, exactly.
That's the one thing about social media. Like back in the day, Facebook was like it or whatever. They had MySpace, but I think that was big Facebook. There was no Instagram. There was nothing else. But now it's like so flooded with all kinds of stuff that, same thing with all these, even dating apps. My gosh, there's a billion dating, not just one or two. It's like a billion of them. I don't know how many people are on them. I have no idea. And I wonder about like all these other apps. Do you remember Google had its own social media for a minute called Google? Was it Google Plus? I think it was Google Plus. Google Plus, what it was called.
No,
I
don't think so.
It was supposed to be a Facebook killer. It was supposed to be, but they killed themselves. Really, what they did. I jumped on it early on because I heard about it and stuff, and I had early access. Even when they do the early access thing, it's like only select few get early access kind of thing. And I was kind of waiting for my turn to get in. I was all excited about it, I didn't have Facebook. I was, I'll try this, I was big into Google with YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And so I did it. It was like, I met a few people on there, chit-chatted, do a few things. This is way before Instagram. And I don't know what happened. It just like all of a sudden just stopped working, I guess. They just turned it off. I don't know what they did, but they just shut that down.
Here?
Right. I mean, it is what it is, man. But
or it's just like it was like, oh man, like this wasn't as easy as we thought it was gonna be.
Well, Google is known to shut things down. Like there's a website, I forget what it's called. It's like Google Graveyard or something like that, and it's like all their like projects they shut. Remember the glasses, the before Meta glasses, they had their own version of them. It was called,
I think I do remember
Google
that.
Glass, I think it was called. And they look like literally a piece of glass. It would look like glasses, look like a piece of glass itself that you wore in front of your face. And like it had like, I think it had a camera and might have had headphones or something or whatever. But it was a very similar concept to what Meta does kind of stuff. Way before got VR and that kind of deal or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember that was supposed to be a big deal. Shut that down. Like Google shuts down stuff like crazy. Yeah. And so that's why I'm like, I don't know. They shut down YouTube next. I don't know. Hopefully not. We'll see. Yeah. I don't know. I doubt it. YouTube is like their biggest cash cow. There's no way they would even consider shutting YouTube down. Like what for? Unless they started some new version or some new something or other. But they wouldn't even do that because they got their shorts on YouTube too, and it's a social media thing now, and all the other stuff they got going on over there. Yeah, they
don't you dare touch our YouTube, Google.
Yeah, or I always said this years ago. I said, what if YouTube started charging, like as a content creator, like charging to like upload stuff?
Oh yeah,
like how many channels would just fall off the map? Like would just drop off because thinking podcasting we pay for hosting. Well, I don't, but like. Most people pay for hosting on podcasting, and so you got to pay rent there. What if YouTube started charging rent for your stuff? Imagine what that would happen. to the whole space. But I think YouTube makes so much money with ads and whatever, and who knows what, that, I think that they make so much money off the bigger shows to cover the cost to host the smaller shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that whole concept, grassroots and everything, like it really will change the game when again, to your point, like the bigger channel probably it wouldn't be a big deal. It was like, okay, this is just an extra fee I had to pay or whatever. But I mean, somebody just starting, it's just like,
oh no, well, yeah, totally. Well, I mean, even in podcasting, the different podcast hosts have different tier levels. And I do not know what these different tier levels do, but there's a couple of them that have like a premium, like a corporate level, and it's like $200 a month for hosting. And I don't know what it does, what you get out of it or whatever, but I wonder if they do something like that for the YouTube space too, if they were ever going to charge to do it. Kind of like there's a free level for like the basic person, like the regular content creator, and there's like the corporate, there's like the Mr. Beast level.
I was gonna say Mr. Beast level
or whatever. But even if it was $500 a day, you're like, that's nothing. That's like nothing, Speaking of no money, I saw a video that somebody posted. I don't know if I sent this to you or not, but it was a video talking about how Elon Musk just hit the trillionaire mark.
Oh, yeah.
And they were showing like all the things you could buy. And he's like throwing all the stuff out there, like every NFL team, every NBA, all the sport teams, all these different jets, houses, stuff. You can buy like all kinds of stuff, all the different cars, like 20 Ferraris, Lamborghinis, 100 Bugattis. And he says, you still only reached half of $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Not even a full $1 trillion, even with all buying all that stuff. Like how ridiculous amount of money that is. It's just nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's always interesting when you get into those conversations because obviously, even on paper, his personal finances are probably insane. But a lot of times, like with these, and obviously in his case too, is like you're throwing in company, values and all of that stuff in there as well. Again, what SpaceX is worth and what Tesla is worth, and all these different things.
You just cash out, whatever, and then all of a sudden go to the bank. Get a check. I would deposit this, please.
Yeah, I want my $1 trillion right now.
I want 8 quarters. I want 8 quarters and nickels.
Yeah. So that's, when you get into that, that level of, net worths and all of that, again, it's just so much tied up into that, a majority of that is not expendable in that sense. But I mean, still, to and even, when Apple, it became, like $1 trillion company and all of that. Even, see when certain companies went into that $1 billion mark, it was just, to see that scale of what that is compared to, again, just compared to, $1 million, like the scale of being a billionaire versus a millionaire, it's just really eye opening for sure.
Well, it does look good on your business card.
Yeah.
It is bragging, right? It's almost like here on social media or even YouTube or whatever, when you hit like a certain number of views or a certain number of followers or a certain number of whatever, it just becomes, or podcast downloads or views or whatever, it just becomes like bragging rights. Like, what are you going to do with that? I'm going to get I can't wait to get because he just posts those posts all the time. He just say I can't wait to get to 10,000 or 20,000 or 100,000. Okay, great. What do you do with that though? What are you going to do with that? You get a little trophy, I guess, from YouTube, the little trophy plaque, or whatever. Hey, what do you put?
You get some money, but
where's your trophy plaque? I don't see it in your background there. Are you your little YouTube trophy plaque?
I told him to make a custom one. So
okay, wait for it.
Don't put YouTube or anything. Just do that. So yeah. That's it.
That's it. Well, Courage, this has been fantastic having you on tonight, man. And welcome to the NASCAR race in San Diego, and you're coming back, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, speaking of YouTube, where can everybody find your YouTube amazing channel?
Yeah. Feel free to check out the Driven Dad 22 on YouTube, Instagram, and like car stuff. And, a lot of times there's some crossover between what we talk about and what's going on those. So
right. And I'll definitely put links to that in the show notes of this episode. Look down below, whether if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening to the podcast side, whatever, all the links will be right there. Courage's links. And also links to Cool Cars with Chris. It's all right there. And we are good to go on that. And until next time, be safe, drive legal, And just because you watch NASCAR doesn't mean you are a NASCAR driver. And with that, we'll catch you later.